lives, that will change history, 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 that will change history. That will be the most beautiful day.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning back in this evening for our second report of the day, but this is our official nightly report now for the 22nd of June, 2022. Again, hope everybody's having a wonderful Wednesday evening. Now, Thursday in Ukraine, you could say good morning, Ukraine. About, I'd say it's about almost 7 o'clock Ukraine time, I think right now, 6 or 7 o'clock Ukraine time. Coming at you guys 11:39 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the East Coast, 11:40. So a little bit later than we usually do our report, but we're coming back at you guys, and we're going to get everybody filled in on what's been going on in Ukraine. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. Best way to get the algorithm's attention, get this information into the hands of more people. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Best way to get notified when new videos and streams go live. Today is a very special day. It marks the 10-year anniversary of the Nemico Network YouTube channel. 10 years that I've been on YouTube here on this channel. I've been making videos and streams a lot longer than that, but it is kind of a special day. Our 10-year anniversary. We'll be having a video coming your guys' way, and as well as our 50,000 subscriber special coming your guys' way pretty soon here. Big shout out to everybody that's tuning in tonight. Itchy the Killer, Miss Tiger Eye, Michelle Welch, Red-Blooded American, how you doing, man? Speedy Squirrel, Bernie, all you guys, to everybody out there, thank you so much for stopping by today and taking some time out of your day to get filled in on what's going on here in Ukraine. So, over the past few hours between our last report and now, I actually had a pretty interesting report come in. This is on screen now. Comes in from The Guardian, but again, this is some news coming out of Finland. Finland's armed forces chief says his country is prepared for a Russian attack and ready to fight. We'll read a little bit from this article here, again coming from Guardian.com. It says Finns are motivated to fight and the country has built up a substantial arsenal. Finland's Armed Forces Chief General Timo Kivinen said his country was prepared for a Russian attack and would put up stiff resistance in the event that one should occur. Finland has maintained a high level of military preparedness since the Second World War, having fought 2 wars in the 1940s against its eastern neighbor, with which it shares a 810-mile border. Now, on the earlier report that I brought to you guys a few hours ago, I showed you an image that was brought to us by a user on the Discord server by the name of Magical Witness, I think it is. One second here, let me find it for you guys. Mandragora Witness is the name of the user that brought us this image here. I'm going to go ahead and switch to our main screen here just so we can take a look at this a little closer. Okay, so this here on screen is a list of the countries that Russia and the USSR has attacked since about the year 1915. So in 1918 you have Ukraine, of course, and earlier I was showing you guys this because of some other news, which I'll talk about in a second, because of Lithuania. We were interested in Lithuania here, but if you look on the map here around 1940, I believe we should see a conflict here on this list, as it said there in our oh yeah, here, 1939, Finland. Here we go. Here's Finland in 1939 right there. So I guess that's what that article is referring to there. But earlier we were interested in these encounters with Lithuania, which happened in 1940 as well as 1991 here. So again, I'll talk about that news here in a few moments. But again, I thought that article from The Guardian was interesting. That broke probably just a half an hour ago here, I believe. No, this says this is 14 hours ago, but this dropped into my PMs just a short while ago. So this is the first I'd seen of it, but very interesting. You have a quote actually here from Kivinen himself. He says, "We have systematically developed our military defense precisely for this type of warfare that is being waged there in Ukraine, with a massive use of firepower, armored forces, and also air forces." He added, "Ukraine has been a tough bite to chew for Russia, and so would be Finland." So again, basically just coming out there and saying, hey, we are ready for a fight. If you guys even dare to cross the border into Finland, we will make you regret it. So that was interesting. Interesting article that came out earlier. Our primary headlines for this evening, we'll get right to them without further ado. The most intense battles in Ukraine are still taking place in the east of the country, in the Donbass, where we've been heavily kind of focusing in on over the past few weeks here. Again, that fighting in the Donbass is a pivotal battle for this war in Ukraine here. And as they've said many times, it'll probably determine the outcome of the war, who takes the Donbass, whoever wins here in the Donbass in the east. The most intense battles in Ukraine, again, still taking place in and around Severodonetsk, Lysychansk, in the east there. However, the fighting has been picking up in the north and the south of the country. So we have activity going on in and around Kharkiv, and we have activity happening down by Kherson and in the south of the country, Snake Island as well. So it says here again, Ukraine's military says it carried out strikes against Russian positions on Snake Island. And when we hop over into our community aggregated news, I have some satellite imagery, some evidence, some other things that we're going to look at that talks about that activity that's happened at that outpost in the Black Sea there on Snake Island. Again, this suggests, though, the big headline here is it suggests that the use of these longer-range weapon systems that have been provided by Western countries, these longer-range missile systems, have possibly been used in Ukraine now against these Russian forces. In northern Ukraine, Russia has stepped up shelling of Kharkiv, again, the country's second largest city, where Ukrainian officials say long-range Russian shelling has killed at least 15 civilians this week. Ukraine pushed back Russian troops from the outskirts of the city more than a month ago. Ukrainian officials are gearing up to receive candidate status from the European Union. I've talked about this a few times this week. They're expecting there's going to be more shelling here, more attacks over this coming week as both these meetings happen in Brussels and as their EU candidacy status is decided here. So we got to keep our eyes and ears open here. There's going to be a lot of either possible retaliation from the Russians here in the coming days and weeks. And then there's going to be a lot on the diplomatic side as well, with all this news coming out of Brussels and coming from the EU and stuff moving forward here in the coming week. So it's going to be a busy week when it comes to both sides of the conflict, both in diplomacy and in just probably the level of strikes we're probably going to see occurring. An uptick is expected in violence overall in the east, in the Donbass there. In their latest comments, Ukrainian leaders, including President Zelensky, said they expected unanimous support of all EU members for Ukraine to be put on the lengthy path towards potential membership in the bloc. An EU summit begins in Brussels on Thursday. So that is today, Ukraine time. Again, we're on day 119/now day 120. It's technically day 120 in Ukraine at this very moment in time. Again, morning in Ukraine. We're just coming up to midnight here in the United States on the East Coast. However, again, it's day 120, so 120 days that this war has been ongoing. Again, earlier today, we got reports that the Kremlin has threatened to retaliate against Lithuania for blocking some goods headed to Kaliningrad. Again, just a few moments ago, I was showing you guys that image that came from Madragora Witness. Sorry, that's a hard username to pronounce there. Over on the Situation Room. Actually, this was posted in the Images channel on the Discord server. Again, thank you to Mandragora. Thank you so much for posting this image here. Again, it's just a list of all of the countries that USSR and Russia have attacked or have been in any kind of confrontation with since the year about 1915. So again, you can see Lithuania 1940, and then right here recently in 1991, Russia and Lithuania had some conflict as well. That was before the Chechen Wars broke out. That was before Georgia, of course. So, again, there has been a history between Russia and Lithuania that goes way back. Again, they're basically they're threatening to retaliate against Lithuania for blocking goods and supplies, basically trade goods, from what I've gathered, from heading to Kaliningrad, which again, for those that don't know, is an exclave it's a Russian exclave, again, on the Baltic Sea. It's not connected to the Russian mainland, but it borders, I believe, Lithuania and Poland. Again, this is raising fears of a confrontation between Russia and NATO. Kaliningrad, again, is part of Russia, as I just mentioned a moment ago. Both NATO and EU members, Lithuania and Poland, are. So again, this is kind of a dicey situation. Lithuania said it was banning the movement of goods like steel and other metals to the Russian territory of Kaliningrad as part of EU sanctions over Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Arguably, some of those materials might end up even being used in weapons manufacturing, munitions manufacturing, possibly. So that could be what they're looking to maybe really directly affect Russia's ability to get some of this equipment out and manufacture, to get some of these munitions manufactured. That could be possibly what we're seeing here. I mean, not to mention just affecting their economy, further sanctioning their economy. However, so you have two. So there's two. You have Finland. Tonight we have Finland. Earlier, when I had wrote up the reports, it was just this story with Lithuania, but we also have this story again with Finland, and the armed forces chief coming out and just saying, we're prepared for a Russian attack. We're prepared that this is a possibility, and we're prepared. We're mentally prepared that it's a possibility, and that their armed forces are prepared for this exact type of warfare that's happening in Ukraine. Okay, the exact type of strategy, the exact type of tactics that they're using in Ukraine right now. Finland has been training for that exact scenario since World War II. Okay, ever since the end of World War II, they're like, okay, we're never going to let that happen again. We need to really create a robust military strategy when it comes to protecting our territory, their sovereign territory. And so again, that's what this general is coming out and saying. That was again General Timo Kinnunen, I believe, is the name, if I'm not mistaken. Russia commemorated the 81st anniversary today of the Nazi invasion of the Soviet Union in World War II. Activists held candle lighting ceremonies across the country, and according to Russian RIA news agency, also in the occupied Ukrainian city of Mariupol. Again, that's from that RIA Russian news agency. President Vladimir Putin laid a wreath on the tomb of the unknown soldier near the Kremlin in honor of the estimated 27 million Soviets killed in what Russia calls the Great Patriotic War. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has created the largest refugee crisis since that time, since World War II. So it's kind of a little bit of an ironic situation there, but again, some interesting reporting there. Microsoft today, in some cyber news here for you guys, Microsoft today reported that Russian state-backed hackers have targeted organizations in 42 countries allied with Ukraine. That includes the United States. The report identified the U.S. as the top target, followed by Poland, a key logistics hub for aid to Ukraine. Again, we've been following, I believe, the majority of our news when it comes to aid going into Ukraine, when it comes to any type of maneuvers happening into Ukraine, have come from Poland. Poland and Germany, but mainly Poland, because it directly borders that clean western border with Ukraine there. Probably, I think they share the majority of, if I'm not mistaken, I think they share the majority of the western border with Ukraine there. So they got that straight shot right between Poland and Lviv. And again, there's no Russian forces in that area, so it's been a very important partner for Ukraine, Poland. Anyway, U.S. as the top target, and Poland as well, again, them being the logistics hub for aid to Ukraine. Again, hackers succeeded at infiltrating networks of, quote, 29% they 29% of the time they were able to infiltrate these networks. At least a quarter of those intrusions resulted in stolen data. So 29% of the time they were able to infiltrate these networks, they were able to penetrate the network, and a quarter of the time those intrusions resulted in a success, an emission success of stolen data or whatever they were looking to do there. Microsoft said key targets were governments, but also included think tanks, humanitarian groups, IT companies, and energy and other critical infrastructure suppliers. And of course, I talked a little bit about this on my earlier report, just how from the beginning of the war, we've been really, that's been our main focus here on the channel, just in the background, is in the cyber realm of this war, and tracking what movements are occurring, where attacks are being taken out, and where they're being orchestrated from, and all that sort of stuff. I would say a lot of people don't realize this, but I would say that 50% of this war has occurred in cyberspace. In two forms. In one form is direct cyber attacks, direct cyber espionage, and things like that. And then the other side of it is through propaganda means, okay, through changing the narrative, not changing the narrative, but changing public opinion and furthering their narrative. Okay, so you have the two sides of that, but I would say that makes up about 50% of this war is in cyberspace, is in the information space, and then the 50%. The other 50% is kinetic warfare that's happening on the ground in Ukraine. And a lot of the information war side of stuff gets brushed under the rug, especially as people are dying there on the ground in Ukraine. But it's a large portion of what is happening in country there. Again, those two halves of that, it being the information war, the propaganda, stuff like that, and then direct cyber attacks, direct cyber espionage, stuff like that, okay? Anyway, moving on, that concludes our primary headlines for this evening. I do have one last big one coming from President Zelensky there, announcing that he will be addressing the G7 and NATO summits, as Biden could unveil new steps to pressure Russia. We're talking new sanctions, possibly new aid packages as well. But he announced earlier Zelensky will be virtually addressing the G7 and NATO summits next week. That came directly from senior U.S. Administration officials, and Zelensky himself announced that as well. Again, Zelensky is working to reinforce Western support, again, amid Russia's kind of grinding assault here that is continuing in Ukraine, in the east of the country, as well as, again, now the north and the south as well, again, in Kyiv, and then in the south along the southern coast, and then as well as Snake Island as well, which we'll get to now because we're hopping over into our community aggregated news. So now I have some stuff to show you guys. We can actually get some stuff on screen, and we can show you what's been going on. So again, we're switching over to our community aggregated reporting coming from the Situation Room in the Discord server. If you'd like to follow along with us, you can find these posts in the Discord server. That's discord.gg/Nemico. That's the Situation Room channel over there. Our first post from this evening comes from Kyiv. Actually, we had one from Unstinkable that he had PM'd over to me earlier, and I told everybody I was going to start out with that one, so we'll start out with that one again. This is coming from Canadian Ukrainian Volunteer on Twitter, unverified accounts. Keep that in mind, but this is a pretty credible source here. I talk about something is still burning on the horizon off the coast of Odessa. Glory to Ukraine. That could be a ship, or it could be those attacks that we've seen on Snake Island. That could possibly be what we're seeing here. But you can see a picture here on screen of that ominous glow in the distance coming from off the coast of Odessa there. Again, bear with me, guys. This evening, if I have to take any quick pauses, I am currently experiencing some sickness here in my neck of the woods. So, if I have to take any pauses to clear my throat or anything, just bear with me. Our next post here comes from Kyiv. So Kyiv is what I've now deemed a Nemico power poster. That's what I've been calling him lately. He's been absolutely keeping up with keeping those articles and those posts moving into the Situation Room, I have a what I try to do when I read these Situation Room posts is I read like one or two per person. However, Kyiv has put in a lot of hard work, and usually we wouldn't condone somebody posting just all of the articles into the Situation Room, but he posts some bangers. Okay, he posts some good ones. All right, some really good information, some good articles, some good, really interesting, sometimes even very thought-provoking posts and pieces of evidence. And he actually, I think, is the one that posted some of the Snake Island stuff I'm about to show you. Anyway, first one posted for us tonight. This comes from liga.net, news.liga.net. This is talking about they're going to be using Boston Dynamics spot robots for basically doing, is it called Sapper? Is that what you call that? You know, the guys that go and they clear mines. I believe they're called Sappers, if I'm not mistaken. Is that what it is? Yeah, just a sapper, also called a pioneer or a combat engineer, is a combatant or soldier who performs a variety of military engineering duties such as breaching fortifications, demolitions, bridge building, laying or clearing minefields, preparing field defenses, road and airfield construction and repair, etc. So, again, basically just they're going to be outfitting these spot robots for sapper uses. So basically just for clearing minefields. It says here, the U.S. military has agreed to provide one of its two robot dogs to help American nonprofit Halo Trust clear mines and other munitions in Ukraine. This was reported by Foreign Policy, another news outlet there. Halo Trust is a demining company, has signed several contracts with the U.S. government to work in Ukraine. So that's interesting. Again, so this is a Ukrainian company that is signing contracts with the U.S. government. The U.S. government is going to pay them to clear mines in Ukraine using robot dogs. Okay? According to Halo Trust Executive Director Chris Watley, the sappers will use Spot, a Boston Dynamics robot dog, to dispose of mortar shells and cluster munitions in Bucha and Brovary, Kiev Oblast. Those are those two towns there that got absolutely destroyed there. There was many civilian deaths that unfortunately occurred there. As noted in last year's test session, Spot worked well with small, unstable explosives. So that's interesting. So these robot dogs are good for de-arming small and, quote, unstable explosives. So, again, if there's one thing, if there's anything that can convince you guys at home that we are fighting a different war nowadays. I know there's a lot of old equipment being used on the battleground, right? We got guys out there using Mosins. We got guys out there using, Soviet kit, okay? But if there's one thing, if there's anything here that can convince you guys that we are waging a different kind of war, some kind of future warfare here, it's that they're not going to be using robot dogs to clear mines. And I mean, this is not the first robotics technology that's been used in warfare, of course, but legged robots, that's kind of a new thing. Like Spot, its agility, Spot's capabilities, the capabilities package that Spot provides is unlike anything else that has ever been used in combat theater, in war. Okay, so again, this is just, I think, the start of what we're going to be seeing, this type of thing here in Ukraine, and arguably going ahead into the future, in future wars and future combat. Anyway, our next post here coming up. This comes from, I believe, Kyiv as well. I was talking about Kyiv a second ago being the power poster. I'm just gonna. What I've done is I've opened up all of his, and then we're just gonna go through them one after another. So these are all basically from Kyiv. I have a few others that have posted tonight, and I'll get to those after Kyiv power post lineup. This comes from Walter Report on Twitter. Talks about another video of Ukrainian 220mm MRLS. Burivi, Storm, Squale. I guess those are nicknames there. Let's take a look here. I'm probably going to get copyrighted for this music here. So I guess I won't play the music. But I think the video kind of portrays what the tweet is showing here. So this does look like a newer system here. Very interesting. So I believe those are a little bit longer range, like compared to the typical MRLS that they're using in country there. I'm pretty sure these are a little bit longer range, if I'm not mistaken. This is another one from Kyiv here. The Russians dismantled and removed the largest solar power plant in Ukraine. The solar power plant Tokmak Solar Energy, with a capacity of 50 megawatts, was located on an area of 96 hectares near the village of Tokmak in the Zaporizhia region. So they've dismantled this solar array that is there. Interesting. Real Estate Cody, thank you so much for tuning in this evening, and thank you for subscribing. He says, "Robot pupper, I want to pet it." Yeah, that's one good robot doggo. He's doing a good job. He's doing a very good job over there in Ukraine, clearing those minefields. That's probably one of the craziest stories I've seen when it comes to just the ingenuity, the sheer ingenuity that is being put to work here. So I'm gonna have to get a translation for you guys here on this one, so bear with me while I get that up on screen. I'm pretty sure there was probably a translation posted with this, but I don't have it at this time. But I can get you one here. This talks about the ZSU probably went to This is what it says: the ZSU probably went to Kherson. Vitaly Kupari, citing his own sources, reports that Ukrainian fighters occupied 4 streets of Kherson. We are waiting for official confirmation. So this is an unverified report here that the Ukrainians have occupied 4 streets. And if I go to the map here, I can actually show you why this is significant. It's because down here in Kherson, it's all underneath Russian-occupied territory. However, the Ukrainians, if you see, all this blue territory is... all this shaded blue here is stuff that Ukraine has taken back. Okay, this is all stuff that Ukraine has managed to take back from Russia. So apparently, according to this report, somewhere here in Kherson, there's a few blocks held by Ukrainian forces at this time. Again, still has not been officially confirmed, but we'll keep an eye on that. Our next post here comes from the Institute for the Study of War. This is a Southern Axis update thread. Ukrainian forces have reportedly recaptured Keselivka and are now within 15 kilometers of Kherson city, indicating that Russian forces are facing substantial pressure to defend against Ukrainian counterattacks. So that is a corroborating report there, which gives a little bit of substance to the one I just showed you. It could be that the Ukrainians have pushed in near Kherson. This comes from OSINT Technical, or from earlier today. Russian forces have hit a vegetable oil depot in Mykolaiv. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce that one. Again, this is an ongoing. We've seen these strikes before occurring at sunflower oil, like refining plants, even their storage facilities. And again, this just kind of adds fuel to the fire, so to speak, no pun intended, in this ongoing food crisis that Russia is inflicting on not only places like the Middle East and Africa, but arguably the entire world. As I've talked about many times, like a broken record, 12% of our daily caloric intake is currently stuck in ports in Ukraine. 12% of your daily calories, real estate Cody, 12% of your daily caloric intake is currently stuck in Ukraine. Real estate, Cody. Okay, that's why your morning Captain Crunch. That's why it costs more at the grocery store right now, is because 12% of our daily calories are stuck in Ukraine right now, being held hostage by Russian forces. Again, not just food, but fuel as well. That's why our fuel prices are being affected as well, is because Russian fuel isn't going into Europe like it once was, and now our fuel prices here at home are being affected. Yeah. Miss Tiger Eye 912 says, "Oh no, someone was talking about the vegetable oil shortage." Yeah, so sunflower oil is a big one. Ukraine grows a ton, a metric ton of sunflower seeds, mainly for the production of sunflower oil. Chris Stu 2010 says, Nemico, we need another rocket launch short with the Frog. I don't think the Frog survived the last launch, or at least he hasn't been recovered yet. But I'll keep you posted on that. Our next post for this evening. This comes from Euro Weekly. News and views since 1998, says Euro Weekly. It says Russian AN-30 plane crashes at airport due to technical malfunction. This isn't the only report I have related to Russian aircraft this evening having technical issues. A Russian AN-30 aircraft reportedly crashed while landing at Olenek Airport in Russia. The Russian AN-30 plane crashed due to a technical malfunction before landing at Olenek Airport in Russia, according to preliminary reports as collected by Interfax. According to preliminary data, the plane could have crashed due to a sudden technical malfunction when it was making its landing approach and failed to reach the runway line at Olenek Airport. Now, as I mentioned a minute ago, that's not the only post we have this evening. Let me see here. Hold on. I can find it. I can find it. I can find it. I can find it. There was one we had about... We had one about Western... Oh, here we go. I found it. Okay. So in Russia, Western planes are falling apart. After months of sanctions that have made critical repair parts difficult to access, aircraft operators are running out of options. An Airbus A320-232 with the tail number YU-APH made its first flight on December 13, 2005. Since then, the aircraft has clocked millions of miles flying routes for Air Deccan, Kingfisher Airlines, Bingo Airways, and Syfax Airlines before being taken over by Air Serbia, the Eastern European country's national flag carrier, in 2014. For 8 years, YU-APH flew without any issues until it landed at 10:37 p.m. on May 25, 2022, at Moscow's Sheremetyevo International Airport. It had flown in from Belgrade and was due to take off again on a late-night return within the hour, but there was a problem. The pilot had reported an issue with the plane's engine casing that needed to be fixed. The supplier of the broken part, Charlotte, North Carolina-based Collins Aerospace, reportedly refused to fix the problem, citing sanctions against Russia resulting from its February 2022 invasion of Ukraine. The plane was stuck. Collins Aerospace did not respond for a request for comment there. But again, basically this article is talking about how Western planes that are in Russia that have been used for commercial purposes, that these commercial airlines are now starting to fall apart. Very interesting reporting there. Our next report here comes from Kyiv Independent. Again, I think this was also posted by Kayuka. And you know what? I'm just going to preemptively, in case I miss anybody, I'm going to preemptively just mention all of our Situation Room posters from this evening. We had Kayuka, Charlie Wong. Pyrotech, I believe, was in there somewhere. Mother Saki, I'm pretty sure, might have been in there somewhere. I'm just going to go ahead just kind of mention all of our usual posters, and just in case I miss anybody. C-130, I believe he was in there. C-130's Rule, I believe he was in there too, maybe. We had a few other guys that were posted in there. To all of you, thank you so much for posting all those reports in the Situation Room this evening. I'm going to just go through them all here, one after another, because I have a whole lineup of them, and I want to be able to get to all of them. Again, Kyiv Independent here. Mayor says Russian troops kidnap people in Energodar in mass. The situation with the kidnapping of residents and nuclear plant employees is becoming catastrophic, according to Dmitry Orlov, the mayor of Russian-occupied city of Energodar in Zaporizhia Oblast. Some people have been tortured and abused, he added. Rare Ukrainian MRLS. Okay, so never mind, that was another report. But again, talking about these abductions that are happening in and around Zaporizhia Oblast, the one with the nuclear power plants, the nuclear power plant employees, that does not surprise me because they've been being held hostage since the start of the war, since Chernobyl and the Zaporizhia nuclear plant fiascos occurred. Experts say, again, this post coming from BusinessInsider.com, experts say there are mounting signs that the Kremlin is purging its top generals in Ukraine. No, thank you. The latest hint of deep dysfunction in Putin's army. I'll read you some of this article here after I get hydrated. Okay. The Kremlin recently replaced the commander of the Russian airborne forces and could be in the process of a major shakeup of their current command structure in Ukraine, according to a new report from the Institute of the Study of War. We're going to take a look at the Institute for the Study of War a little bit later, actually. I'm going to take a look at their both. I believe they have a weekly and a daily report, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to look at the daily one for sure. The analysis found that many top officials could be blamed for the failure to fully capture Ukraine, prompting the Kremlin to replace those officers with new faces. Current Chief of Staff of the Central Military District, Colonel General Mikhail Tepelinsky, will replace the current commander of the Russian Airborne Forces, Colonel General Andrei Serdyukov. According to the report, Ukrainian sources reported that Serdyukov was previously fired from his post by the Kremlin for, quote, poor performance and high casualties, according to ISW's report. Quote, such drastic rotations within the Russian military, if true, are not actions taken by force on the verge of a major success and indicate ongoing dysfunction in the Kremlin's conduct of the war, the report states. Again, we'll take a look at ISW's daily report in a little bit here. Okay. Our next report here. This comes from Mike, simply named Mike, on Twitter here. Verified Twitter source. Not sure exactly who this person is. It says, attempted suicide, 2 shots in the back of the head. A Russian colonel who was in charge of carrying Vladimir Putin's nuclear codes briefcase has been found shot at his home near Moscow. Vadim Zimin, 53, is gravely ill in intensive care, says reports. This comes from a post directly from metro.co.uk, and we'll go ahead and we'll look at the article itself. It says Vadim Zimin, 53, is gravely ill in intensive care. The nuclear controls briefcase always accompanies the Russian president. Retired Federal Security Service FSB Colonel Zimin had looked after it since he took on the role as aide de camp to the former President Boris Yeltsin. Zimin was found with gunshot wounds in the kitchen of his flat in Krasnogorsk, Moscow region. At the time, his partner, a medic, was away treating the wounded from Putin's war in Ukraine. So his wife is a medic, treating wounded Russian soldiers in Ukraine. He commits suicide, allegedly. The shooting came as Zimin was facing criminal investigation for alleged bribe-taking after joining the customs service in a senior role. So that's interesting. So apparently he's still alive, but he's gravely ill and he's in intensive care. So this next post here comes from Canadian-Ukrainian volunteer. It says the Boyotka Towers, glory to Ukraine. I'm going to do a little bit of a search on this really quick. So this could be. So this could be. Yeah. So this could be Russian oil platforms, Russian fuel platforms. Yeah. So this was the post I showed you at the top of the hour here, with the glow you can see off the coast of Odessa. This could be coming from. Yeah, it's the gas platform. So it says here, the glow from a huge fire in the Black Sea is visible for tens of kilometers. The gas platform continues to burn. So maybe one or multiple oil platforms have been set ablaze there after attacks from Ukrainians. We're still waiting to get more information on that post there. So again, here, this is a public photo out of Odessa of that strange glow over the sea. So again, somebody immediately jumps to, it looks nuclear. No, that looks like an ongoing glow from a fire. Yeah, if that was nuclear, we already would have heard about it. However, no, that looks like those oil platforms which we just saw a moment ago. That report from a moment ago. This next report here comes from Special Kherson Cat. In Skavadosk, Kherson region, explosions were heard in the port area and a fire is observed. The head of the Skodovosk administration reports that these were missile strikes 85 kilometers from the front line. So we'll actually look at the map here. They have a little map photo here showing how far away these strikes occurred. That could have been Ukrainians striking a military or ammo target in that area. That could be what we're seeing there. Yeah, especially if it's the port, possibly. Maybe there's some kind of Russian naval hardware there. We'll have to wait until we can get some more information on that. This next post here says, in the area of the airfield of Chaplaninka near the Nova Hakova in the Kherson region, Russians burn the bodies of the dead Russian military in the pits with automobile tires, according to the main intelligence directorate of the Defense Ministry of Ukraine. So, again, I wouldn't put it past them, but, I want to state that this is, again, hasn't been verified or confirmed yet. However, this could be definitely something that's happening here, but they're basically stating here that they're burning the bodies of dead Russian military soldiers in pits with automobile tires, arguably to mask the smell. Yeah, possibly to mask the smell and help burn up the corpses. Those automobile tires burn pretty hot and they release a lot of black smoke that could really overpower the smell of burning corpses. That could be again, that's an ongoing theory here I'm seeing in the comments. Interesting. Again, that is allegedly. We're gonna have to wait to see if evidence ever comes of that. Very possible that we might hear reports of that, given some of the ways that the Russian military has conducted themselves since the beginning of the war. I wouldn't put it past them. This is a post about those Britons that were again put on trial there in the DPR. Again, basically sentenced to death here. Aidan Aslan says Ukraine, Britain told execution will go ahead. A British man sentenced to death by Russian proxy court for fighting in Ukraine has been told the execution will be carried out, his family says. So he was on a call with his family, and he basically said that there's been no negotiating happening. The negotiations that were supposed to happen between the Britons, basically the West and the Britons and the Russians, not the Russians directly, but the DPR, to get them released have not happened. So nothing's happening. He was frustrated and then basically saying that he's been told that time's running out and that his death sentence will be carried out. So he needs to, whatever negotiating needs to happen quick, is basically what they're saying there. We're going to keep you guys posted on what's going on with those British, what the DPR is calling mercenaries, but those British soldiers which were fighting for Ukraine there and got captured in Mariupol. So again, this is part 2 of a 2-part post, and I'm trying to find the first part of it. 1 second, guys. Here we go. Okay, so the first part of the post says large columns of Russian armed forces are leaving the captured city of Mariupol and moving to the Zaporizhia region in the direction of Berdyansk. Polohoy, advisor to the Mariupol mayor Petro Adrenashenko, reports, according to him, the Russians are withdrawing most of their troops from the city to other sectors of the front line due to lack of resources. So they're pulling out forces from Mariupol that are there in Mariupol to keep hold of the city, and they're retasking them in different areas of Ukraine. So that's very interesting. All right. This next post comes from Pravda.com. It says, armed forces of Ukraine have almost completely destroyed the Russian army elite that was preparing to counter NATO security service of Ukraine. So, Ukrainian defenders have destroyed the, quote, elite units of the Western Military District of the Russian Federation, and the only survivors are soldiers who have refused to attack Ukraine. The source interception of a Russian occupier's telephone conversation posted by the Security Service of Ukraine. During the phone call, the occupier tells his wife about the Russian Federation's losses. His unit is located in Kharkiv Oblast. Direct quote from the occupier, he says, there's no Western district anymore because they're all in Russia. Conscientious objectors, there are just some Easterners wandering past me because there are almost no Westerners left. All the equipment is broken. Either the turret isn't working, or something else isn't working, or the wheels are broken, or it's something else, and the only ones who go to the front lines are volunteers. Details: the Western Military District of the Russian Federation includes Moscow and St. Petersburg. It is said to include a military elite trained to counter NATO forces, but many officers have been killed. Drivers are in short supply, and huge infantry forces are being used as cannon fodder. So some pretty stark news there coming from the Russian side of things there. Our next post here comes from Ukrainiform.net. Talks about the enemy advancing on Severodonetsk from several directions. It says here, Russian invaders continue to make efforts to reach the administrative borders of the Luhansk and Donetsk regions and keep control of a land corridor with the occupied Crimean Peninsula. Ukrainian Defense Ministry spokesman Alexander Mutizyank said this at a briefing at the media center in Ukraine. Quote, the main goal of the enemy at this stage is to reach the administrative borders of the Luhansk and Donetsk regions, keep the land corridor and the occupied Crimean Peninsula, and block Ukraine's maritime communications in the northwestern part of the Black Sea. Despite huge losses in manpower and equipment, the occupiers outnumber Ukrainian defenders and try to win only with numbers. In some areas, for one piece of Ukrainian artillery, there are 6 more enemy artillery pieces. At the same time, the effectiveness of the actions of the Russian infantry units remains low, especially in the towns. Again, if you want to read this entire article, you can find that over on the Situation Room. Our next post up here is our daily Ministry of Defense from the UK, our latest Ministry of Defense intelligence update on the situation in Ukraine, again, as of the 22nd of June. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Heavy shelling continues as Russia pushes to envelop the Severodonetsk area via Izium in the north and Popsana in the south. Russia is highly likely preparing to attempt to deploy a large number of reserve units to the Donbass. Those are reserve units from Russian territory, okay? From Russian territory being moved into theater here in Ukraine. The Russian authorities have not released the overall number of military casualties in Ukraine since the 25th of March. However, the self-declared Donetsk People's Republic, also known as the DPR, publishes casualty figures for DPR forces. As of the 16th of June, the DPR acknowledges 2,128 military personnel have been killed in action, and 8,897 have been wounded since the start of 2022. The DPR casualty rate is equivalent to around 55% of its original force, which highlights the extraordinary attrition Russian and pro-Russian forces are suffering in the Donbass. It is highly likely that DPR forces are equipped with outdated weapons and equipment. On both sides, the ability to generate and deploy reserve units to the front is likely becoming increasingly critical to the outcome of the war. Could be soon that we see more forces called up out of Russia. That could be possibly what we're going to see here in the coming months. So we got to stay vigilant, keep our eyes and ears open. Here I have our NASA firms map. And then I have a so this is a post, I believe this was taken by Kyiv earlier. This is fires that broke out in and around Izium as of yesterday. And as you can see here on the map, there are still fires that are burning there. I believe this is still Izium. In fact, if we just scroll out here, you can almost see the front line from space with these fires. You can see there clearly, especially around Severodonetsk and Lysychansk. But you can see all these red dots here. They follow the front line. If you look here on the map, these are the red dots. These are the red dots here. Those explosions are correlated here on our NASA firm's fire map. Okay, you can literally see them correlated. You see a strike happen on this map. You want to know if that's real or not? You go over to the NASA firm's map. You get concrete evidence from a NASA satellite here that fire is burning on the ground there from that strike. Okay, I constantly have people say, "Well, how do you know that these reports on Live UA map aren't fake and manufactured?" Well, it's because we correlate them with all sorts of other data, geolocation data. So you have geolocation, that's a big one, right? Geolocation and source data. That's the first thing. And the second thing is you come over here to sources like firms, and you look if there's a fire burning at that strike area. You can go look at the air pollutant maps, and you can correlate with that data and other witness accounts, other video footage from the area, and you can get a really good idea of, okay, yes, that strike happened here and not, here, or yes, this happened today and not yesterday, etc. Again, this is a post expanding on talking about how half of that Russian force, half of that Russian separatist force is dead now. And they estimate Donetsk militia alone has lost 55% of its original force. That's 55% of the Donetsk militia has been killed. Next post here comes from Military Lab on Twitter. There's a Russian MOD statement on Snake Island attack. Ukrainians plan to land troops after bombardments. At least 15 UAVs were used, and also M777, Uragan, and Tochka U ballistic missiles. According to Russians, a Global Hawk RQ-4 was detected. So that's one of those Northrop Grumman unmanned reconnaissance aircraft. Could have been flying around Snake Island. RU Pantsir and Tor-Sam eliminated the threats, they say. However, we still do have reports, again, this comes from the Russian Ministry of Defense statement on what happened there, okay? However, we have further reports here that I'll show you of, obviously, there's been some strikes that have occurred on Snake Island here. And first one I'm going to play here comes from Euro News. Make sure to get our desktop audio on so you guys can hear this video, and we'll go ahead and watch what this has to say.
Ukrainian forces claim to have launched an attempt to retake the Black Sea's Snake Island, captured by Moscow at the start of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The outpost became a symbol of Ukrainian resistance after a radio exchange went viral at the start of the war.
So these are those satellite images I've been talking about.
Used an expletive in response to Russian demands they surrender. In a post on Facebook, Ukraine's military Southern Operational Command said it had used guided missiles with the use of various forces on the island. There was no mention if the mission had been successful. In contrast, Russia's Ministry of Defense claims to have rebuffed what it called a mad attempt by Kyiv forces to retake the island. It said drones and howitzers had been fired, but all had been intercepted. Besides its symbolic value, the island is also strategically important, being located off the coasts of Ukraine and Romania. Elsewhere, and the situation on the front line remains extremely difficult, according to the governor of Luhansk. Russia appears to have gathered almost all of its forces to storm the settlements near the embattled city of Severodonetsk. Kyiv.
Okay, so again, talking more about Snake Island there, and we have another article here coming from Ukrainiform. Talks about the operation targeting Snake Island continues. Russian SAM Pantsir may be destroyed. Ukraine's defense forces have delivered strikes on enemy equipment and manpower on Zimini Snake Island in the Black Sea. The operation continues. This was announced on the air of the national telethon by the head of the Joint Coordinator Center of Ukraine's South Defense Forces, Natalia Hamenyuk, according to Ukrainiform. Quote, there indeed has been a strike, in fact, more than just one, but all of this is part of a military operation that requires silence. Nevertheless, we understand justified we understand justified concerns of the population, including in the Odessa region, who have heard the explosions with their own ears. Our troops are doing their job, and if there is no warning of threat, everything is done just right. The massive blow was inflicted as various forces were employed. We aren't revealing all of them, as the enemy is also listening to and reading us. Therefore, the strike inflicted some damage. We see and understand that the enemy cluster of personnel and equipment has been defeated. We already know that the Pantsir anti-aircraft missile system was very badly damaged, possibly completely destroyed. We know that the radar station was very badly damaged, and there are other enemy losses that we're verifying to take into account. The operation is underway, and I think we will deliver a follow-up really soon, Hamenyuk said in that statement. Here, coming from Mike Eckel. Mike Eckel on Twitter here, verified Twitter source. This shows some more Maxar images here. A new before-after satellite imagery of Snake Island, where Ukraine allegedly hit Russian positions a couple days ago. Again, that operation's still ongoing. But you can see here the images on screen here of the before and after. So you have before, and I believe that's after, if I'm not mistaken. So you can see very clearly some evidence that there has been some strikes that have occurred there. You can see here just clearly there's some destroyed buildings, signs of a lot of vehicle movement, possibly disturbed earth from explosions. I'm definitely seeing some signs of destroyed buildings there. And then here's a big one. So here's that tower here, okay? And then the next one, the tower is gone. And you can see it laying there on its side. Here it is here, and there it is there on its side. So yeah, there's definitely been strikes taken out there. So they've taken out their communications towers or radar infrastructure, some of their missile systems as well. Here's a post from the Globe and Mail.com. It talks about Russian claims that 162 Canadian foreign fighters have been killed in Ukraine. There's no evidence to back that up. Jordan Mullins doesn't know exactly what hit him. He only remembers the pain that he felt when shrapnel punctured his left calf. Basically, here they're talking about this Canadian that was fighting in Ukraine. He says, I caught shrapnel in my left leg, either from a round or maybe what it hit. Not sure. It just felt excruciating fire in my back of my calf, he recounted in an exchange of messages. Now recuperating back at home in Canada, Mr. Mullins is proof that there are Canadians fighting on the front lines in Ukraine, but he nonetheless scoffs at a claim by Russian Defense Ministry last week that 162 Canadians have been killed in the 4-month war. He says, that's not accurate at all. I'm still in contact with most Westerners I met in country, and believe me, all the Canadians I met are still fighting and will continue. I've heard of wounded Canadians, but none killed in actions as of yet. He said, I'm quite sure our government would have to address over 100 of our citizens dying in a foreign conflict. No? So, interesting post there, again, coming from Mark McKinnon, I believe his name was, on Twitter there. Our next post here, this comes from the 16th of June. This is a video that was shot on the 16th of June. I believe this is a Russian... I could be wrong here, but I believe this is video from a Russian unit. This is body cam footage from a Russian unit of one of their ammo depots being targeted. This could also be a Ukrainian ammo depot being targeted here. What I'm going to do is actually really quickly verify. Let's get this verified here. So I think that was a Russian unit, actually, if I'm not mistaken. If somebody knows a little bit more about this, let me know. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the original post here on the Situation Room so I can get that up on screen here for you guys. It's the Snake Island stuff, so we're not too far off here. There's a lot more Snake Island news. There's satellite images. In fact, here's one. Here's one that Kayuka posted earlier. This is satellite imagery kindly shared by Stranik 1981. Shows fires burning on the island this morning. So more satellite imagery coming from Snake Island. Now, one second here while I reorient myself. I'm trying to find this... trying to find the user that posted this video, because I'm pretty sure there might have been some information posted along with it. And I want to be able to look at that. So just bear with me here, guys. Okay, so... yeah, I'm not seeming to find that. Where did I find this video earlier? I'm pretty sure it was a Kayuka post, but I'm trying to find it. Here it is. Here it is. Okay, this is posted by Kayuka with a very well placed. Viewer discretion is advised. I watched the video earlier. There's no gore or anything. It says, miraculously, there is no injury or gore visible in the video, and the soldiers survived. However, the entire video is very disturbing. I watched it. It was pretty disturbing. So this was body camera footage of the ammo depot at Krenesi Luch getting destroyed on the 16th of June. Again, I'm not sure if that's Russian forces, if this was Russian forces or Ukrainian forces here. Nonetheless, we're going to watch it. Again, to my headphone users, prepare yourselves, because it does get a little bit loud. But you can see here, this is basically, they're right there on the ground as their ammo depot here comes under fire. And you can see here all around, there's nothing but, I saw fuel tankers, there's these are crates of munitions here that we're seeing, okay? You can see them here hearing the initial explosions, and they're kind of deciding what to do here. Figuring out if they should take cover or if they should try to move.
Грузимся все сюда. Давай.
So yes, that is confirmed to be a Russian unit. You can see the Z on the trucks there. I don't know how I missed that when I first watched this earlier, but just I wanted to confirm that for you guys.
Где Володя-то, блядь? В полном ходу отсюда уёбан. Да куда Урал там стоит, ебать? Хуя она въебала. Вы видели, как она летела? Да. Да нахуй. Нет, ворота есть какие-нибудь там, смотрите, быстрее. Нету, вообще проезда нету.
Это уже цепная реакция.
Нахуй голову все прикрыли.
Люк закройте.
Да, люк закрой. Все двери. А, нет, это... Видите, закрывайте. Как съебаться-то отсюда у тебя? Что там, он полностью? Не проехать никак? Пизда там ебашут, нахуй. Опа.
Yes, and just to confirm with you guys again, this is Russian forces we're seeing here. This is a Russian forces ammo depot being targeted by Ukrainian forces, quite successfully, I might add. But here, you see these Russian forces are basically trying to decide what to do here. They hear explosions starting to occur around them, and they're trying to basically come up with a decision on what to do, where to run for cover.
Сука.
Ебать, точечно, уебали.
Да, блядь, продано уже.
That guy is wearing rip-off Nikes.
Продано нахуй, что можно. Сука.
Охуеть.
You can see those are crates of munitions right there. Yeah, this entire area, this is like a huge ammo depot. You can see bits of shrapnel landing around them. I saw a few shrapnel hits there on the ground.
Давай, раз, два, три, побежали! Короче, дальше.
Съебались, да? Надо сюда.
Well, he picked the right day to wear his Nikes because he needed to go running. You can see there pieces of munitions falling back to earth. You can see debris landing in front of them here as well if you watch closely. Really quickly, I'd like to say hello to Angel. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Yes, this is live. We're coming at you guys a little bit later than we usually do tonight. But for those of you just tuning in, we're watching a video of a Ukrainian strike on a Russian ammo depot that was filmed on the 16th of June. Okay, so just about 7 days ago? Yes, about 7 days ago. So about 7 days ago, give or take, is when this occurred. That strike on this again Russian ammo depot at Krasny Luch, again, that got destroyed 16th of June. Let's continue watching. So you can see there, that was definitely a danger close moment for them. As it looks like some of those munition stockpiles, this could have also been a missile that landed there. However, you see a very large explosion, and I see some of you in chat said that all hell broke loose. This isn't. It gets way crazier. Okay, this is just the beginning of the strike that you're seeing here. But watch for the debris that lands all around them here. Okay, so you can now see that they've ran to cover here. They changed locations because the munition stockpiles that you saw at the beginning of the video, which were positioned behind of that position where they were sitting, behind there, like 100 yards back or so, was where all of those boxes of munitions were that started to go off. That's why you saw all of that wood debris and stuff flying. I'm pretty sure that those were probably pieces from those wooden crates, possibly, that we're seeing, and from buildings, of course, flying all around them and landing. So again, they were behind like cement and what looked to be kind of like a steel I-beam or something, taking cover there from the shrapnel. But of course, when those blasts start to go off like that, just the shock waves alone can do a lot of damage. And so they needed to get away from that. You can see they jumped up, they ran to this building here, and then let's continue watching here. For those that want to find this video, you can find it in the Situation Room on the Discord server. If you want to find that, it was posted by Kayuka. It's posted by, this is in Russian, so if you want to get a link to it, best place is the Situation Room in the Discord server. Let's continue watching here. They do kind of transition forward. This ammo strike probably lasted, 30 minutes to an hour maybe, but this is, I would say actually probably 30 minutes. This probably occurred over a period of about 30 minutes, I'd say, and they're just kind of showing us different parts of the strike, I think. Let's back up just a few moments here, though, and watch them. So you can see here, this looks like a steel I-beam or something. Look, right there. This kind of looks like it's steel I-beam or something that they're hiding behind. And you saw like it looked like a piece of ember landed on that Russian soldier there real quick. You can see that debris flying around there. You can see some embers there. Right there. You can see that. That's an ember that landed there. So yeah, they need to move positions because they got embers, they got a shrapnel and all sorts of stuff landing on them. You can see all sorts of burning munitions or whatever that was. They needed to get the hell out of there, and so they moved to this building here and try to hold up a position here.
воды нет, ни хрена.
So you could see him here, kind of like trying to figure out how to escape this building. You saw one guy holding up like a panel or some kind of panel or something as a shield to be able to get closer to the door. They're kind of pinned in there because I believe the shed or whatever they're in only has like one entrance, and it was facing towards the explosions. So they're trying to like figure out how to get out of there, and you can see by the end of this that like the building like basically collapses. They do make it out though, so again we'll keep watching here. So they got out. They're hiding somewhere. There's embers coming down everywhere. All of those munitions you can hear cooking off. I think I saw a little combat roll there. I think they're trying to take cover here. They're taking cover underneath a house, possibly.
Влад, мы потом оттуда выберемся, пацаны. Если завалит, нахуй, мы не вылезем.
Это лучше, чем так находиться.
Все заберите, ебать, нас завалит на пизду.
Мы уже не выберемся, вот именно.
Я волна. Взяли все. Мы либо заживо сгорим, либо сгорим, нахуй, задохнемся. Если бы бетонный подвал был, тогда другое дело. Самое главное двигаться.
Дай зажигалку, братан.
Не знаю. Она может у меня, наверное.
Давай.
Я не встану.
So you can see them here trying to make a run for it again. Along this fence, through like a series of what look to be sheds or something. Possibly, yeah, possibly houses, people's houses.
Давай,
I'm not
Гарри,
sure.
Жора. Давай, Настя, заходи сюда. Я думаю, хуй знает. Давай дальше. Побежали. Каждый железный.
So again, they're just trying to make it. They're just trying to make it away from this ammo depot that's cooking off. You see them finally make it onto the road. They make it to a vehicle, and then the last thing you see is them like driving away. Like right here, this is like the last thing you see is them driving away from the ammo depot. So interesting video there. Again, brought to us by Kayuka on the Situation Room in the Discord server. This next post again, which came to us at the beginning of the show, I talked about this. This was the the statement from Finland, from Finland's Armed Forces Chief, General Timo Kivinen, again saying his country is prepared for a Russian attack. And so with that, what we opened up the show with, we're going to end off the show with tonight, or at least our community aggregated reports. We're now going to switch over to our open source reports from Live UA Map. We're going to go through the last 12 hours of activity and get everybody up to date on what's been going on. We'll actually start at 15 hours ago. Okay, 1 killed, 3 wounded as a result of Russian shelling in Mykolaiv. You can see there on screen a fire that was burning as a result of that shelling. 15 hours ago. 5 people were unfortunately killed as a result of Russian mortar shelling in Preshib of Kharkiv region. So we were talking earlier about how they're increasing their bombardment in and around Kharkiv. That's evidence of that. 15 hours ago, 5 people lost their lives there in Kharkiv. Scroll back down here. 11 hours ago, EU currently providing Ukraine with long-range artillery, tanks, and MLRS, which is those missile systems there, per EU EU Ambassador Charles Fries at the EU DFF 22. We have adapted our offers to the Ukrainian needs. Again, the acronyms there can sometimes be a little bit much. 9 hours ago, missile strike at Skavadosk port reported after Iskander launches from the site earlier today. We got a video for you guys to show of that as well. I believe it's coming from Telegram, so we're going to need to open it up in a new tab here. You can see that port on fire. There's some blaze coming from the port. I actually showed you that same video when we were going through our community reports a minute ago. 9 hours ago, shelling in Kharkiv. Video for you guys coming from Twitter. We can show you. Must watch. Explosions hit right behind me as I'm doing a broadcast warning about the intensity of attacks on Kharkiv. Kharkiv is under absolute attack by Russian terrorists, says Sarah Ashton Cirillo.
Kharkiv, Ukraine. Where tonight, the bombs are the worst they have been in some time. Sarah Ashton Cirillo, more to come. June 22nd, 2022. North Saltivka, Kharkiv, Ukraine.
So that reporter there was doing like a little bit of a report, and those shells went off not too far. It didn't sound like it was too far away from her location. 8 hours ago, more explosions were reported in Kharkiv, so that came right after. So there was a lot of shelling and explosions that happened in Kharkiv earlier this evening. 8 hours ago, Mayor of Apsolovi reports shelling in the community. You can see where that was located here on the map, near Kariviri in Zaporizhia. 8 hours ago here, Maya Sandu had a good phone call with President Zelensky of Ukraine ahead of important EU I believe that's referring to the EU. They say EUCO, I believe. Oh, EU Commission's. So it stands for the EU Commission meeting. Okay, we have discussed EU Commission's recommendation on granting candidate status to Moldova and Ukraine. We are committed to strengthening our cooperation in regards to our EU integration. 7 hours ago, President Zelensky says, today I spoke with the leaders of 11 countries, Bulgaria, Latvia, Greece, Sweden, Estonia, Czech Republic, Belgium, Austria, Slovenia, Moldova, and spoke again with the president of Lithuania, Nazida, expressed full support for the situation around the Kaliningrad region of Russia, which we reported on earlier this evening. So we now have you have Lithuania getting involved here, okay? Directly cutting off those supplies to Kaliningrad. All right. You also have Finland coming out and saying, "Hey, bro, we ready for a fight." Saying right to Russia, they're like, "Hey, man, we are ready. We're trained for this. We've been waiting for this exact type of warfare since World War II. They've been training for this style of combat that we're seeing taken out in Ukraine. They've been preparing to defend their country against invasion by the Russians since 1940, since 1939, okay, when Finland last was invaded by Russia, or had a confrontation with the Soviet Union. In fact, I'll refer back to that list just that we showed earlier in the evening, posted by Mandragora Witness. Again, big mouthful there, that username. 1939, Finland, right there. Finland has been preparing for an invasion from Russia since 1939. The Finns have been literally preparing for this, okay? And they're like, hey, man, we're ready. Lithuania, they're like, no, we're not standing for this. We're cutting off your supplies to Kaliningrad. Screw you guys. And then on top of that, you have what's happened in Moldova, around in Transnistria, the breakaway region there. Okay, you have that Russian element there, right? And then on top of that, the Moldovans are like, nah, we're not going to stand for that. They've been moving forces in closer to that Transnistrian region. They don't want those Russian separatists there anymore either. So you got that area heating up. You got Lithuania, and then you got Poland, of course, as a primary target here by the Russians now because of the logistics aid that is flowing through into Ukraine from that point. Things are getting dicey. Very, very dicey here. Again, that ends off our primary open source reports. And concludes our show for this evening. We're gonna end though with a little bit of a Q&A. I'll read some of the comments and questions from the chats, both on YouTube, Twitch, and Discord out of the general chat. If you're hanging out over there on the Discord server and you're in the general chat, I'll take questions from there as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. If you haven't already, hit that like button. I know we're having a little bit of a late report tonight. We started around 11:30, and it's now 1 a.m. How long has this report been going? About an hour and a half in, so not too long. Usually we get done within about an hour, but had a little bit of a extended report this evening. Again, reminder: today is our 10-year anniversary for the YouTube channel, and I'll be having a little bit of a celebratory anniversary video coming your guys' way sometime, hopefully this week, if not next. We've been trying to get that ready for you, as well as a 50,000 subscriber special. I think that's going to be the July 4th show. It's going to be our 50,000 subscriber special. Yeah, that's going to be a big one. We've been working on that. Got a whole bunch of video content coming your guys' way as well. Let's go ahead and switch back over to our newsroom so we can take a look at that chat. Mike S. says, I'm worried that what China may do. Yes, I've also been keeping a close eye on China. In fact, I had a little bit of an epiphany recently. I realized that for these reports going forward, we might eventually transition into like instead of a Ukraine report, we'll be doing like a general intelligence report on what's going on everywhere. So like, all the big threats, all the big, topics, we'll cover them all right? Just like a big intelligence report, but also, be able to jam it into an hour, maybe an hour or two show. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Because I would like to cover some of those other topics, and people have asked about me covering those other topics, especially as this conflict starts to broaden. We're not just covering Ukraine anymore. Tonight I covered Lithuania, I covered Finland. Many different countries are involved in this now, and so again, there's a lot more to this whole situation than just Russia and Ukraine. China is involved. The Middle East is arguably involved. Africa has a lot to do with this as well. This is like a much broader conflict than just Ukraine and Russia. This now has global, very far-reaching consequences. Michelle Welch, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Says thank you, Nemico, for get back to us on stream. Always great. Well, thank you so much, Michelle, for tuning in tonight. Real Estate Cody says, is the 4th is on a Sunday or Monday? I actually haven't checked that. It's on a Monday. Yeah, so no bueno. But we'll all still be celebrating it anyway. And, yeah, it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time. Mike S., thank you so much for tuning in. Says, thanks, Nem. Thank you. Miss Tiger Eye 912 says, ooh, July 4th is the day before my board exam. That would suck. Yeah. Hearts go out to you, Miss Tiger Eye 912. I hope that exam goes well, though. Try to still enjoy your 4th if you possibly can. Speedy Squirrel, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. He says 9 a.m. here. Good time for me. So you usually come to us, what, like 6 a.m. then? Something like that, Speedy Squirrel. So, yeah, I'm glad to be bringing you a report at a decent time. Yeah, it's about 1 a.m. here where we're at. Bringing you guys a late night report tonight. Access Tonight says I'd be down for a general intel report. China has been interesting lately, I feel. Yeah, there's a lot more than just China. We got like the cyber, you got the cyber end of things. You got the Russian-Ukrainian conflict. You have China. You have everything going on in the Middle East as well. Then you have like a lot of the geopolitical stuff that I'd like to cover as well. So yeah, there's a lot that can be covered, and eventually I would like to branch out to some of those topics. All right. Well, with that, everybody, I'm going to go get some rest and recovery here. I hope everybody else does the same. Again, we'll be back here hopefully tomorrow. Again, I'll let you guys know. Keep an eye on the Discord announcements channel or the community page over on the YouTube channel. Best way to get an idea of when we're going to be on and what we're going to be doing. Until then, guys, if you haven't already, hit that like button. Best way to get the algorithm's attention. Hit the subscribe button. Best way to get notified of new videos or streams. If you're looking for any of our sources, you can find that stuff in the description. Links to everything in the description below the stream or below this video, depending on how you're watching this, as we do upload the streams after they are live to the YouTube channel at youtube.com/Nemico Network. So you can watch them if you've missed the report. See, if you can't find anything in the description, you can find it on the Discord server, discord.gg/Nemico. Pretty sure that about sums it up, guys. All right, until next time, you've been watching Nemico Network.